everybody, Cheryl here with Cheryl's Magic Moments, where I react to everything Disney or give you tips and tricks. Now, if there's something you want me to react to that's non-Disney related in any way, shape, or form, there is a link down below to my other channel where I react to everything from Tommy Johansson, Youngblood, Nightwish, and so much more over there. So go check that one out. So today I'm doing some tips for those who are going to the parks for the very, very first time, or it may be you're maybe a veteran, but you're looking for some extra little teeny tiny tips and tricks that you might not know while you're there at the parks. So my first tip is if you're going there with kids, and you're wanting to bring in your own stroller, or you plan on renting a stroller from the parks because you can get strollers from at the parks themselves. Um, I highly recommend bringing something to identify that stroller that you're using from everybody else's in the sea of strollers, because you'd be surprised at how many strollers are there every single day. Um, I've worked in stroller parking, and the amount of times I've had a guest come up to me saying, "Hey, I need help. I can't find my stroller," and I ask them what does it look like, and they're like, it's a black stroller. About 80% of the strollers in that park, the one specific stroller parking that I was at, 80% of them were black. So please bring something, whether it's a bright pink ribbon or some fairy lights or something that you can wrap around the handle of your stroller that you can see from a distance. You can go, okay, it's right there. Make sure you do that to your shoulder, or anything that you can come up creatively, whether it's your own personal stroller or you're going to be renting. Make sure you distinguish that stroller from everybody else's that looks exactly like yours. Um, and please, if you're using a stroller, do not leave it in a non-stroller parking area. There will be certain signs, and the amount of times I've seen strollers parked underneath a sign that says no stroller parking. All of a sudden, there's like 30 strollers or 15 strollers in that spot, and a cast member or several cast members will have to take all those strollers and move them to a designated area, whether it's in front of a ride or outside of a shop or whatever the case may be. Because if you leave a stroller in a non-stroller parking area unattended, then all of a sudden everybody else thinks they can do it too. And then next thing you know, these strollers they're blocking an exit to a ride or a show, or it's blocking the entrance to a store, or it's blocking the walkways where parades are supposed to go through. And it becomes very unsafe. That's why we have designated areas for your strollers, and then that way cast member can take care of them. So please, if you're going to be renting or bringing your own strollers, make sure you leave them in those areas. If you're not sure where one is, you can always ask a cast member on where you can put your stroller for a little bit. Tip two is, if you are bringing your kids, and you know how kids are, I've seen it multiple times, they're wanting everything in sight, from that toy to that plush to I want this, I want that, so much. Sit down and plan, and between you and your partner, on how many items or how much you want to spend on your child each day. Whether it's, okay, you're allowed to spend $100, or you're allowed to buy 3 items a day. And then tell your kid, hey, if you see something that you really, really want, let me take a picture of it throughout the day. And then towards the end of that day, then sit down with your child and say, okay, let's go over the items you want, and then you get to pick out your top 3 items that you want, and then we'll go back and get those top 3 items. That way, it makes it so much easier, and you're not carrying around all those items around the parks, getting tired, they're getting heavier and heavier, and most rides won't have the room to put the bubble wand because the pocket's big enough for small things like your cell phone, but it won't fit a big bubble wand into the pocket on the ride itself. So make sure that you do that. There is another option if you want to go ahead and just shop throughout the day instead of waiting to the end of the night. If you are staying in certain resorts on property, they will allow you to ship those items back to the resort as long as you're not checking out the very, very next day. Um, and if you need to, you can always contact or ask your resort if that's something you are, or if that is a thing that you can do while staying at that particular resort ahead of time. Um, Another option is if you aren't able to stay in a resort that offers that, you can always have it shipped to the front of the park as long as there's a 4 hours from the time you are shipping it to the front of the park and the time you are leaving. Now, if you're wanting to do it at, let's say, 7 o'clock at night and the park closes at 9, they won't offer that service. So you can always just carry it with you or whatever you want to do. There is another option. You can have it shipped back to your home, actually. If it's too big of an item, you can always have them shipped back if that's something you would like to do as well. So there's multiple options that you can do with your items. You can, if you want to carry all your items, you can, or if it's something special like ears that you want to wear throughout the day, then you can go ahead and do that at the beginning of the park, or you can wait to the end, or whatever the case may be. Uh, then that way you can do that. Another tip it would be to take breaks, especially if you have young ones. Take those little breaks about midday, around lunchtime. Um, Find a nice little quiet spot. There is, like, if you go on, every park has like a baby care, especially if you have young ones. There is a baby care in each park, so you could ask where that baby care is, and there, especially if you want to breastfeed your your infants for the day, there, and you don't want to do it wherever you are in the park. You want to just sit. You want some quiet and alone time with the child. Ask where the closest baby care is because there is one per park. So you can always go there. Or you can take all your kids and go back to the resort. Let them have a little nap. Let them recharge those batteries as well as your own internal battery. And then that way, when everybody's refreshed and everything, you can go back to the parks and enjoy the rest of the day. Because the amount of times I've seen kids cranky, tired, exhausted at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon because the fact that um you you've been there since opening. You got they got up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you got to the parks at 7, waiting to wait in line, and by 3 o'clock they're exhausted. So take that short little break, whether you find whether you go back to the resort or find a little quiet spot in the park, just whatever the case may be. Figure something out, just take a little break, and you can finish out the day the rest of the day. So that way you get your money's worth and enjoy the entire park the entire day. Um, so with that being said, also please, please, please drink loads of water, especially if you are going to the parks in the summertime. It, if you're not used to the humidity and you're not used to the heat, it is bad. Especially you don't realize how much walking you do inside the parks itself. There is loads of walking that you have to do outside in that heat and in the sun. So I recommend bringing a water bottle like this, whether it's metal or it's plastic, but bring in a big water or couple of them, so that if you, especially if you have multiple people in your family, bring a few of them with you and then put a whole bunch of ice water inside of it to last you throughout the day. Now, if you notice that you're needing um, more water, if you go to any quick service throughout the day that serves fountain drinks, if you go up to them and say, hey, is there a way I can have some ice water? Can I please have 4 cups of ice water? They'll give it to you for free because we would rather have you um, get free ice water than having us call EMTs because you or somebody in your family is dehydrated. So please bring in some bottles of water and please be safe out there. I love you all. Put lots of love out there and please, please, please have loads of fun. I love you all. Mwah. Have a magical day if you're going to Disney. Bye.